again every time. That's when you're coding, my guy. Coding, we know it's very stressful, but at least you also need the cup of water just to keep yourself dehydrated. You see, at least before you start doing anything, if you don't have coffee, better at least try have water. Yeah, I think that one would be great. Let's go. Yeah. So one of the basic fundamentals that we're going to talk about today is just decision making. So decision making is very important when it comes to programming. Yeah. Yeah. So decision making, as I was saying, it is very important in programming. So under decision making, C provide us with almost about two types, which is a switch and if statement. So in programming, we often need our program like to make choices just like human decision based on a situation, or a computer program that can also decide what action to perform based on the condition of something. So for example, you are writing a student management system. So a student management system is this is a management that manage like it manage the scores. Let's say for example, if a student has scored, let's say 50%, you want it to print pass or fail. You see. So let me just put it to you so that you guys you can see what am I talking about. So okay. So yeah, we'll start with the if statement. If statement. Yeah, so the if statement is the one that was starting decision making. So, say for example, if a student get above 50%, then the compiler has to display like pass, doesn't it? Or otherwise display fail. That's also a decision. So let me go through like the syntax, like a general syntax for decision making for the if statement. It goes like if, and then you put up the condition inside the bracket, put up the condition like that, put up the condition, and then you do is we have those, then you put the code that you want to be executed if the condition is true. Yeah, so we call it like, let's say, a statement or a code to be executed. Executed. Yeah, so that's how it works. So we'll be using the same syntax or the same general syntax to write all our if statement. Let's put it in comments so that I try to show you. Okay, just like that. They are in comment, so the compiler will ignore it. So let's say for example, we're running a student management system. A student management. So we start by including the hash include, and then we put iOS stream. Yeah, like that. iOS stream. After that, we're going to use a name standard to avoid library. So to indicate that we're using the standard library, we use this syntax, which is using the namespace. What's my spelling? Okay, namespace HTTP, which is a standard library with a semicolon. Also open up the function to indicate the function, the data type. So in our case it is an int. Okay, so in this function now, let's try now to learn a student management system. Let's say having this guy was called, let's say the marks that he got was 97, and then we want the system to tell us whether the person has failed or not. So we're going to put like marks, which is an int. Always start with a data type, and then a variable. So we're declaring a variable which is marks like that, and then this marks, let's say, is called 50 in this scenario. Then we try to put up the if state. So we have indicated that this is a condition by starting if. By just indicating if, then the compiler is going to know that what follow is the condition. So in this case, let's put up a condition if max is equal to 50, or you can put like if max is greater or equal to 50, we want the program to print pass of something. So I'm going to do like this, print output, and to say pass, just like that. And then also put up a retain so that you can see, you can catch up with your compiler, because some other time it get fast. Don't forget the semicolon. It's an every statement that you write, you have to indicate the semicolon. That's like the way I've written it, and we try to build so that we can see if having some errors. Yeah, so as you can see, the program here, it has printed which is pass. The reason why, because the max is greater or equal to 50. You've seen it. What if we change now max to somewhere, let's say 60? What is it going to print? That's why now the else condition comes in. So the else condition, it allows us to make two choices. What if this doesn't happen? Then the else has to come in. You've seen it. So that's how it works. So in this case, if it wants to indicate like if a patient hasn't reached 60%, then that means that the patient has failed either way, because passing mark is starting at 60. So which means 49 and below, it's a fail. So it just indicate from the same statement, you're just going to include the else statement. Else. Just like that. Don't put up a condition, because the first one, if the if statement has to be true, then this one, the else statement has to be false. Just like that. The else statement always produces a false result. Like the button has to be false. It's the condition is more like the other types of booleans. Other types of boolean, they just operate the same. So Richie, in this case, if you have seen in our condition the if statement, it is not true, because the max that we have here, it's less than 60. So what we want, if someone has gotten less than 60, which is not true. So if it's not true, we're going to tell like the compiler to print, the program to print fail. Just like that. Yeah, just like that. That as we expected, is just printed fail, because the guy didn't reach up to 60%. You have seen it. So that's how it works. That's how it works with C++. But it's not complicated when it comes like to condition. All you just need to master that the condition has to be in bracket like that, and then you have to put this So from there, we have seen that the program sometimes can make up two choices depending just the thing that you have put in. Let's say, for example, now the same program, what if you want now to modify it a bit, whereby instead of bringing pass and fail. It can also help us to determine where, let's say, my gradings. Yeah, we can modify it. Like if a person has gotten up to 90%, then we want has gotten, let's say, 90%, we want the same system to grade him like, no, you have reached to, it's a hair price. I mean, it's a hair price. You've seen it. So what we're going to do, that's why now the introduction of the else if statement comes in. Else if statement. The else if statement allows us like to have many conditions. We can have many conditions by just including the else if statement. So let me show you the syntax, the way it works. So for example, one now to change. So we're going to change here like let's go to something like a a plus. Yeah. So we also change on the condition so that let's say help price, that will be how many? Okay, help price, let's put like 90%. If it's gotten somewhere 90%, then we're trading. If this condition is true, then it will print this statement, which is a price. But what if we want, if it is gotten between 80 and 90, we want the system to print a. That's why now I'm going to indicate the else if, else if statement. So the same applies with the else if statement. Else if statement, you show the condition of sentence. We have to show the condition of the same way that we have written in the if statement. That's the same way that we're going to write here. Okay, so we're going to put like max is equal to greater equal to 80. So which means if it has gotten in between these, what do we want the program to learn? Want the program to print it's a okay, sorry, say why not here? Yeah, it's a hey, like that. So now let's try to learn on the system, and then we can see what will happen. We try to learn the program. Don't stress. Oh, it has executed, which is fail. Yeah, and looking at the program, we don't have anything in the range of 50. So somehow it else statement, which is else statement. So we're going to put 90% here, 90%, and then we see, let's try to build again. Yeah, so if we build again, you can see that now it will choose. I just drop it down so that I can explain it a bit. Okay. So what has happened? It has the condition. The first condition is always the first one to be run, which is the if statement. So once the condition, if it lands, when it turns that no, the result is false, it will go to the else statement here. But in our case, this was equals to 90, and then according to say that if max is greater or equal to 90, we want it to print a plus. So we can change, if we change up to 80, then it will run this statement. If none of the above is true, then let's go to the else statement. Just like that. That's how it flows. So the program check its condition until one that is true. One has to be true. So after understanding this, we go to the second one. One of the interesting one. It's also interesting, but it's not complicated. Which is okay. Let me just delete W's. and put it in comment. I just put it in comments. So a switch statement. Oh, sorry. A switch statement. Okay, just like that. So the switch statement, this statement used when you want to compare one value with many possible options. Many of the time, let's say for example, you want to apply to university, and then you got a lot of options you've seen there. But the only thing that is going to determine like to the university that you're going is the marks that you have gotten. So that's the same. It is another form of the condition statement or the decision statement in C++. So the way it works, the syntax are a little bit different compared to the else and the else if statement. This one they are a little bit different. So let's say for example, we have two choices to make, whether you want to go to CBU or Hunza. So in our scenario, you have completed your grade 12, you have gotten these marks. These marks. This marks, which is somewhere around at 6 point. 6 point now scenario. And then you want to choose between two universities. So what has happened? So we're going to introduce a switch, which is like that. Then switch, we put up what we want to be switching on. Which one are we switching on? So in this case, we're switching on the max between two universities. So we do the same. Introduce this. After you have introduced, so we're going to have in our scenario, case 1, let's say case. So one case will be if you have gotten let's say 6 like that 6 point, then once the choice has to be Hunza in our case. Hunza. Let me just do this. So what will happen here? If you have gotten 6 point, then our case is going to be Hunza. So let me just change it to point instead of marks, but I change it to point so that it looks interesting. Points. Same here, I changed it to points. So if you have gotten 6 points, then you're going automatically to Hunza. So we're going to use a break to make sure that the program doesn't continue, because it will print all of them, and I will show you once I remove it, like the break, how sometimes it lands. So this is our case 1. What our second case is like if you have gotten more than 6 point, which is can be 7 and above, then you're going, let's say, to CBU. So we're going to say count CBU. Just like that. Also include the break to make sure that it's a break. So if we try to learn this program, you're going to see that this guy has 6 points. So 6 points automatically in our case it is Unza. But if he has gotten 7 points, then automatically it's CBU. Let me try to learn so that I show you. Okay. Okay, let me try to build. Oh, sorry, I forgot to put up a break state. Oh, a semicolon there. Forgot to put up a semicolon. Oh, spelling also becoming an issue. Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, just as I explained, this guy has gotten 6 points, so which means it's going to Honda. But you need to be careful because this is case sensitive and every and semicolon here is important when it comes to C+. Let's now try to change to the point. Let's say he has gotten 7 point. We'll try the other condition to see if it's going to work also. Yeah, you see the other option is CB. But let's say if you go to more than, let's say 8 points, something like that, if you try to learn that, you'll see that it will be an error which is not going to show anything. The output will be none, which is a null output. As you can see, it's a null output. It doesn't output anything. So for that, in our first condition, which was if else, we used else, but in this one we use default, like that, default, which works same as the else condition. Or let me just put it inside. It just works same as the else statement. Count not in the system. So in this case, we're going to say like if he has gotten more than 8, we're going to say like not in the system. So we'll try to put it's not in the system, like that. So we try to run. We see instead of bringing up a null output, in this case it's going to bring not in the system. Yeah, as you can see, it just works same as the else statement, but the only difference here is like you're going to have one variable, and then the same variable you're going to switch it to a different output or to execute different output based on the inputs that you are going to provide. It can be in terms of days. We can change it here. We say like days. If in case 1, we can have, let's say in case 1, if it is equals days is equals to 1, then we want it to print Monday. It works perfectly. You can try it. You can do a lot of research about it. So that's all about conditional statement, my decision making in C++. Make sure that you try to run your own program. You do some practices. You practice a bit. You also try to come up with a carry that's going to tell you, let's say if you put 1, then it has to switch to Monday. If you put 2, then it has to switch to Tuesday. Just like that. Thank you for watching, and make sure you subscribe, you like the video, and you comment down button so that you can be reminded every time that we post a new video.